The sky over Earth was dark with smoke and fire. Cities that once shined with life were now silent, crushed under the weight of alien weapons. Entire populations had vanished in a heartbeat, their screams echoing in the memories of the few survivors. Humanity had fought with everything it had, but it was not enough. The invaders, massive fleets of ships with weapons beyond human imagination, had done the unthinkable. They had wiped out billions of people, leaving only shattered remnants behind. In a hidden command center deep beneath the mountains, the last leaders of Earth gathered. Their faces were pale, eyes filled with fear, but also with a spark of defiance. They knew something had to be done, something so powerful that no alien could ever imagine it. Plans had been kept secret for decades, whispers passed down through generations. Humanity had always prepared for this moment, but the world had never believed the legends. One by one, the leaders activated consoles and screens that lit up with complex holograms. Maps of star systems, alien fleets, and weapon signatures floated in the air. "They think they've destroyed us," said Commander Aaron, his voice low and steady, though his hands shook. "They think we have nothing left. They don't know what Earth is capable of." A young scientist named Lyra stepped forward. Her eyes were wide, reflecting the flickering light of the screens. "Sir," she said, her voice almost trembling, "the beasts, they're ready. Every one of them is awake. Every one of them remembers. They are waiting for our command." Aaron turned sharply, his gaze hard. "Do you mean the legends?" Lyra nodded. "The creatures our ancestors spoke of, the ones from the ancient times. They are not myths. They are real, and they are the last hope of humanity." For centuries, stories of Earth's legendary creatures had been dismissed as fairy tales, bedtime stories told to children to scare them into behaving. But they were not lies. Somewhere deep beneath the planet, in hidden facilities older than any city, the beasts had been preserved, nurtured, and trained. Each one was a weapon, a living force designed to defend humanity if the day ever came when survival seemed impossible. And that day had come. Outside, the alien ships hovered silently, massive shadows blotting out the sun. Their weapons still glowed with a deadly light, waiting to fire upon any sign of resistance. They had assumed Earth was weak, defeated, ready to surrender. But Earth was about to show them a truth they could not comprehend. In the command center, a large metal door opened, and from the shadows emerged the first of the beasts. Its scales shimmered like molten metal, eyes glowing with intelligence and fury. It moved with a grace that seemed impossible for its size, each step causing the ground to tremble. There was a moment of silence as everyone in the room stared, caught between awe and fear. "Prepare the others," Aaron ordered. "No hesitation. No mistakes. Humanity will survive." Lyra moved quickly, entering codes and commands into the console. One by one, doors across the facility opened, releasing beasts of all shapes and sizes. Some had wings like dragons, scales as hard as steel, and claws capable of tearing through tanks. Others were serpentine, slithering with unnatural speed, while a few seemed almost invisible, their bodies bending light as they moved. Each creature had one purpose: to defend their planet and avenge the billions of humans who had perished. As the beasts were released, a transmission reached the alien fleet. It was simple, yet chilling. "Earth fights back. Prepare to face the wrath of the legends." In the silence of space, alien commanders looked at each other in disbelief. They had not expected resistance. They had not expected anything like this. Their scanners could not identify the new threats appearing across the planet. And before they could react, Earth's forces began to move. The first attack was swift and merciless. A winged beast launched into the sky, its roar shaking the clouds. It tore through the alien scout ships like they were paper. On the ground, massive creatures charged into the invaders' landing forces, crushing vehicles and soldiers alike. Humans who had survived the initial wave joined in, directing the beasts, coordinating attacks, and striking with whatever weapons remained. Everywhere, chaos erupted. Alien soldiers had never faced creatures like this. Their advanced technology, their massive warships, their numbers, they meant nothing against the fury of legends awakened after centuries of waiting. In the command center, Lyra watched the holograms, her heart pounding. She could see the destruction, the alien ships falling one by one, their commanders screaming in shock. "They underestimated us," she whispered. "They never believed the stories." Commander Aaron placed his hand on her shoulder. "No one ever believes in legends until they become real." Outside, the sky turned red with fire and energy. The roar of the beasts echoed across mountains, valleys, and cities. Humanity had been pushed to the brink, but now, for the first time in months, hope surged through every surviving heart. The battle was only beginning, but the message was clear: Earth would not die. Not today. Not ever. And as the first alien ship exploded in a shower of sparks and flame, a silence fell for a moment, a silence that carried a single terrifying promise. The beasts of legend had been unleashed, and no invader would ever forget the fury of humanity again. The sky above Earth was now a battlefield. Fires burned across cities, but the destruction of the invaders had only just begun. Humanity's survivors watched from hidden bunkers and fortified positions, their eyes wide with fear and awe as the beasts of legend tore through the alien forces. The creatures moved with intelligence and speed far beyond anything humans had ever imagined, striking with precision and power. Commander Aaron and Lyra stood at the observation deck of the command center, watching the chaos unfold. "They've never seen anything like this," Aaron said, his voice low but filled with grim satisfaction. "Every strike, every move, perfect. The legends are unstoppable." Lyra's hands trembled slightly as she pointed at the holographic map. "Look here," she said. "The invaders are trying to regroup. Their main fleet is moving toward the central continent. If they succeed, they could bring reinforcements and crush what we've done so far." Aaron's jaw tightened. "Then we can't let them regroup. Release the next wave." With a series of commands, massive underground doors opened across the planet. From hidden tunnels and caverns, more beasts emerged. This group was different. Larger, deadlier, and more terrifying than the first. Some had multiple heads, each breathing fire or acid. Others were armored like tanks, their footsteps shaking the earth. A few had the ability to vanish into shadows, striking unseen before appearing behind enemy lines. The alien fleet, sensing new threats, fired relentlessly. Beams of energy cut through the sky, and massive explosions lit up the darkness. But the beasts were faster, smarter, and stronger. One enormous creature, with scales shining like black diamonds, swatted away a massive fighter ship with a single swipe of its tail. Another, smaller but incredibly quick, darted through the air, slicing alien vessels mid-flight. On the ground, humans fought alongside the creatures. They had scavenged what weapons remained, and with the beasts' help, they hit enemy positions with deadly accuracy. Every survivor knew the stakes. This was no longer just a battle, it was humanity's final chance to survive. Meanwhile, in orbit above Earth, alien commanders panicked. Their scanners could not understand what they were facing. "These are not normal creatures," one commander shouted. "They are weapons. Living weapons. How is this possible?" Another commander barked orders, trying to organize a counterattack. "Focus on the planet's surface. Destroy their bunkers. Shoot them before they reach the main fleet." But it was too late. From the oceans, massive aquatic beasts rose, their size dwarfing any ship. They dragged alien vessels beneath the waves, their roars shaking the coastlines. From the mountains, flying predators swooped down, carrying aliens and ships alike. Humanity's legends had taken control of the battlefield, and the aliens were losing faster than they could react. Back in the command center, Lyra stared at the display, her heart racing. "They're everywhere," she whispered. "Everywhere and unstoppable." Aaron nodded. "This is what happens when you underestimate humanity. They thought wiping out billions would make us weak. They thought Earth had nothing left to fight with. They were wrong." Suddenly, a warning signal blared across the command center. The largest alien ship, the flagship of the invading armada, was moving at full speed toward the planet. Its weapons were capable of obliterating entire cities in a single strike. "That ship," Lyra said, her voice tight with fear. "If it fires, everything we've done will be destroyed." Aaron's eyes narrowed. "Then it must fall. Prepare the sky-born beasts. And take the humans with you. Every fighter, every strike team, this is our final defense line." Outside, the air trembled as enormous dragons and winged predators soared toward the flagship. They moved in coordinated formations, avoiding the ship's energy beams with astonishing agility. Smaller, invisible beasts struck from multiple directions, causing chaos inside the alien vessel. Explosions erupted as the ship's defenses failed, but it kept moving, relentless and deadly. On the planet, ground units continued to fight off alien reinforcements. Human soldiers, armed with what remained, coordinated with the beasts to trap and destroy enemy squads. Every step, every strike was carefully planned, yet instinctively executed. It was as if the beasts and humans shared one mind, one will, one purpose: survival. Inside the flagship, alarms rang. Alien commanders screamed at each other, trying to regain control, but the creatures' attacks were too fast, too precise. Systems exploded one by one, sending sparks and flames through the corridors. A massive shadow fell over the bridge as a winged predator crashed through the hull, its claws tearing through steel. Back on Earth, Commander Aaron looked at Lyra. "This is only the beginning. They will not give up, and neither will we. We will show them that humanity cannot be erased. Not ever." Lyra nodded, a determined fire lighting her eyes. "Then let them see the beasts. Let them see what legends really are." The sky roared with the sounds of battle, fire, and destruction. The alien armada's main fleet trembled under the relentless attack. Humanity's legends had risen, and their fury was unstoppable. The first wave had been only a warning. The second wave was proof that Earth would fight back, fierce, merciless, and legendary. And somewhere deep in the shadows, unseen by both humans and aliens, even greater forces were stirring, waiting for the moment to strike. The legends of Earth were only beginning to unleash their full power. The alien flagship burned in orbit, pieces of its hull drifting into space like falling stars. Its systems were failing, its crew panicked, but the ship refused to fall easily. Every explosion was answered by a surge of alien reinforcements from the distant fleet. Humanity's fight had only begun, and the enemy was far from defeated. On the ground, Commander Aaron watched through the massive viewing window as the beasts struck with deadly precision. The sky above the central city was a storm of fire and energy. Winged predators weaved through the alien weapons fire, diving into ships and tearing them apart. The ground trembled with the steps of enormous beasts, crushing armored vehicles as if they were toys. Humans ran alongside them, guiding strikes, coordinating attacks, and rescuing those trapped by falling debris. Lyra's hands moved quickly over the console, monitoring each creature's position, calculating trajectories, and issuing commands. "Commander, the flagship is stabilizing. It's pulling power from the main fleet. If it reaches full energy, it could destroy the planet's defenses in seconds," she warned. Aaron clenched his jaw. "Then we make it impossible for them to reach full energy. We focus every beast on that ship. Every single one. No hesitation. No mercy." From the caverns and hidden facilities, the final wave of legends emerged. These were the oldest, the largest, the most dangerous creatures ever preserved by humanity. Their eyes glowed with ancient knowledge and fury, and their sheer size made the mountains tremble. A multi-headed serpent slithered through the valleys, each head spitting fire that could melt steel. Giant armored beasts with tails like wrecking balls charged across plains, crushing everything in their path. From the oceans, titanic leviathans rose, their roar shaking coastlines and sending tidal waves against alien landing forces. The aliens, confident in their technology, underestimated these new forces. They launched massive energy beams, but the beasts moved with impossible speed, dodging and countering with precise attacks. One winged predator soared through the flagship shields, crashing through the hull, clawing through control rooms. Another dove from orbit with a giant chain of energy-resistant scales, tearing alien ships in half before slamming into the ground. Amidst the chaos, human soldiers advanced with the beasts, striking at alien infantry and recovering survivors. Every step of the battle was brutal, but coordinated. Humans and legends moved together as if they shared one mind. Fear was replaced by determination, panic by focus. Every surviving human knew this was their only chance. Deep inside the alien flagship, alarms screamed, lights flickered, and control panels exploded. Alien commanders shouted at one another, trying to regain order, but the creatures were too fast, too clever. Some had vanished completely, striking from the shadows and leaving chaos in their wake. Others had breached the ship's energy core, sending sparks and plasma through corridors. Outside, the sky was a living storm. Explosions rocked the atmosphere, fire and energy colliding with smoke and dust. Commander Aaron gritted his teeth. Lyra, focus the aerial units. Direct them to the flagship's engines. If they fall, the fleet will lose control. Lyra nodded. I'm on it. But there's something else. I'm detecting movements deep under the planet. Massive ones. Older than anything we've released. They're waking. Aaron's eyes narrowed. Waking. How many more are there? Too many to count, Lyra replied. And they're moving toward the surface. Faster than we can calculate. They're coming to join the battle. A shiver ran through the command center as the first signs appeared. Mountains cracked, volcanoes trembled, and the ground shook violently. From deep caverns, colossal silhouettes emerged, larger than any human city. Their presence radiated power and terror. Even the bravest soldiers paused, staring at the new arrivals, unsure whether to cheer or flee. Aaron's voice cut through the tension. No hesitation. Every human, every beast, coordinate. These are our allies, our final chance. If we fail, nothing remains of Earth. Outside, the battle intensified. The flagship, struggling to stabilize, fired at random, obliterating anything in its path. But the legends moved faster, smarter, and stronger. A massive sea leviathan grabbed a smaller alien ship, crushing it in its massive claws, while a dragon-like predator tore through the flagship's outer defenses. Every strike weakened the enemy's resolve. Meanwhile, humans on the ground pressed forward, guiding the newest arrivals, older, larger, more terrifying legends, toward key targets. Their movements were coordinated, almost instinctive. It was as if the planet itself had joined the battle, lending its ancient defenders to protect what remained of its people. The alien fleet was in chaos. Ships collided, weapons overloaded, and soldiers panicked. Their confidence, once unshakable, had shattered. They had thought humanity weak, defeated, but now they faced legends older than time itself, and the fury of a species pushed to the brink. In the command center, Lyra whispered, almost in disbelief, We may actually win this. Aaron's eyes remained fixed on the battlefield. We don't hope, he said firmly. We make them pay for every life they destroyed. Earth will survive. And we will remind the galaxy why humanity should never be underestimated. As night fell across the planet, the war continued. Explosions lit up the sky, shadows of legends stretched across cities, and the cries of battle echoed through mountains and valleys. Humanity had released its most dangerous warriors, the creatures of legend, and the aliens were learning, too late, that Earth was not a planet to conquer. And in the deepest, oldest caves, hidden from sight, even greater beings stirred. Their awakening would change the course of the battle forever. The legends were not done, and the final chapter of the war was about to begin. The planet shook with relentless fury. Cities lay in ruins, smoke and fire blurring the horizon. The alien fleet, once so confident and unchallenged, was now in utter chaos. Ships collided midair, weapons overloaded, and soldiers scrambled in panic. They had expected a weakened Earth, easy to conquer. Instead, they faced an unstoppable force, humans fighting alongside beasts of legend, and creatures older and larger than the aliens had ever seen. Commander Aaron stood at the observation deck, his eyes scanning the battlefield. Below, massive ground beasts crushed armored vehicles, their claws cutting through metal like paper. Winged predators sliced through the air, striking alien ships with precision. Humans ran alongside them, coordinating attacks, rescuing trapped survivors, and ensuring the legends targeted the enemy, not their own. Lyra's fingers moved swiftly across the console, tracking every movement. "Commander, they're trying to form a new strike line. If they succeed, the southern continent will fall, and we risk losing the remaining population." Aaron's jaw tightened. "Then we stop them. Every beast, every soldier, focus on their flanks. Don't let them regroup." From the oceans, titanic leviathans rose, creating tidal waves that smashed alien landing crafts. The ground trembled as colossal serpents slithered through mountains, each head spitting fire or acid at advancing alien troops. From deep underground, the oldest and most massive legends emerged. Their scales shimmered with a metallic glow, eyes glowing with intelligence and fury. They had slept for centuries, but now they fought with the memory of every human life lost. The aliens fired relentlessly, their energy beams cutting through air and earth. Explosions lit up the night, turning the battlefield into a storm of fire and smoke. But the legends moved with impossible speed and coordination. One dragon-like predator swooped through the alien flagship, crashing through hull and armor, while a multi-headed serpent crushed entire columns of enemy infantry with each strike. Humans coordinated closely with the beasts. Soldiers directed strikes, called out enemy positions, and guided the larger legends toward critical targets. Civilians trapped in ruined cities were guided to safety by smaller, agile beasts, while heavy artillery and human squads pressed attacks on weakened enemy positions. Lyra pointed at the map, urgency in her voice. "Commander, they're attempting a full-scale orbital strike. Their main fleet is concentrating above the northern continent. If they fire, we could lose everything we've gained." Aaron's eyes hardened. "Then the aerial units must intercept. All winged predators, all flying legends, move now. Protect the planet and strike their ships before they fire." From the skies, a massive aerial assault unfolded. Dragons, giant birds, and flying beasts weaved through alien energy beams, diving on ships and tearing them apart midair. Smaller, near-invisible legends struck from shadows, creating panic among alien crews. Explosions rocked the atmosphere as ships burned, falling into oceans or colliding with each other. On the ground, humans pressed forward with heavy weapons, guided by the movements of the legends. Every step was calculated, every strike coordinated. One massive armored beast charged into the heart of an alien formation, crushing tanks and soldiers alike, while human squads followed, eliminating survivors and securing territory. Lyra's eyes widened at the sight of the flagship. "Commander, it's still moving. Somehow, it's surviving our attacks. It's adapting." Aaron's voice was steady, filled with determination. "Then we adapt faster. Focus the heaviest legends. Send the giants. If the flagship falls, the rest will crumble." From the mountains, colossal giants surged forward. Their massive limbs crushed alien fortifications, their roars echoing across the battlefield. Fire and energy from the aliens bounced off their armor, but they pressed on, unstoppable. A multi-headed hydra lunged at the flagship, smashing into its hull with enough force to tear through reinforced steel. Other legends coordinated strikes from land, air, and sea, creating an overwhelming assault that no alien could survive. Despite the chaos, humans never faltered. Aaron led squads to coordinate between beasts, marking targets, guiding movements, and keeping civilians safe. Lyra calculated trajectories, advised strikes, and kept every beast and human in sync. Together, they formed a force no alien had anticipated, a living, breathing army that combined intelligence, strength, and strategy. The flagship rocked violently. Energy systems overloaded, sparks flying from broken consoles. Alien soldiers panicked, firing randomly and screaming in confusion. From the ground, legends leapt into the air, crashing into the massive vessel with unparalleled force. The sky was filled with fire, smoke, and the roars of creatures whose names had once been legends whispered in fear. Aaron turned to Lyra, his voice resolute. "This is it. Push them back, hold nothing in reserve. Humanity survives tonight, or it doesn't survive at all." Lyra nodded, her eyes fierce. "We will show them what legends can do. Earth will not fall. Not now, not ever." As the first massive sections of the alien flagship exploded, fragments raining into the oceans and forests below, a deafening roar filled the air. It was a sound of triumph, fury, and ancient vengeance. The aliens were realizing, too late, that Earth's defenders were not mere humans, they were the legends of a planet that refused to die. And somewhere, in the shadowed reaches of the planet, even older forces stirred. Forces so ancient, so powerful, that even the legends paused for a moment. The final stage of the battle was approaching, and nothing in the galaxy had ever seen what was about to be unleashed. The battlefield was chaos incarnate. Smoke and fire twisted into the sky, and the sounds of destruction echoed across continents. The alien flagship, battered and broken, still hovered above Earth, its weapons primed for one final, devastating strike. But below, humanity's legends had grown stronger with each wave of battle. They moved as one, coordinated and relentless, their fury unmatched. Commander Aaron stood at the observation deck, eyes fixed on the flagship. "This is it," he said, voice tight with determination. "Every beast, every soldier, focus. We take that ship down before it fires. This is our moment." Lyra's hands flew over the console, tracking every movement of the creatures and the enemy. "Commander, the flagship is starting to regenerate some systems. It's adapting faster than before. If it fires, all our cities could be gone in seconds." Aaron's gaze hardened. "Then we hit harder. No hesitation. The legends will not let it fire. Earth will survive." From the ground, massive beasts surged forward. Their steps shook the earth, and their roars echoed across valleys and mountains. Multi-headed serpents spewed fire and acid at advancing alien forces, while titanic armored legends crushed tanks and soldiers beneath them. From the skies, dragons and flying predators dove toward the flagship, their claws tearing through the remaining hull. Humans coordinated closely with the beasts. Soldiers directed strikes, cleared debris, and guided the largest legends to critical positions. Civilians were moved to safety by smaller, agile creatures, while human artillery targeted weakened enemy formations. Every human knew their role, and every beast knew its target. Together, they formed a force no alien had ever imagined. The flagship fired its massive energy cannon. The beam cut through clouds and smoke, striking a city in the southern continent. But just in time, a colossal serpent leapt into the path, absorbing the blast with its scales. Its roar shook the ground, warning the aliens that no weapon would stop the legends. Lyra's eyes widened at the sight. "Commander, it's the oldest ones. They've joined the fight. They're huge, bigger than anything we've released." Aaron nodded grimly. "Then it's time to end this. Release the final wave." From deep beneath the planet, legends awoke, ancient, massive, and terrifying. Their eyes glowed with centuries of knowledge and vengeance. Mountains cracked as they emerged, their sheer size dwarfing cities. Winged titans soared into the sky, their wings creating winds strong enough to topple buildings. Sea monsters rose from oceans, their roars shaking coastlines and sending tidal waves against alien ships. The battlefield was no longer human, it was Earth itself, alive and fighting back. The aliens fired everything they had. Energy beams cut through the sky, missiles streaked toward the ground, and soldiers charged with reckless desperation. But the legends were faster, smarter, and stronger. One massive dragon tore through a wave of fighters, flames incinerating their hulls. A multi-headed hydra crushed alien ground forces, each head moving independently yet with deadly coordination. Titans stomped through cities, shattering enemy fortifications while humans guided strikes on critical targets. Inside the flagship, alarms screamed and systems failed. Alien commanders panicked. "It cannot be," one shouted. "These are not weapons, they are gods. How is this possible? Lyra leaned over the console. They underestimated Earth. They thought we were weak, that we could be erased. But these legends, they are the wrath of every human who died. Aaron's voice was steady, cold, and commanding. Then we finish this. All units, focus on the flagship. Strike together. End this war. The final assault began. Dragons and flying beasts dove into the flagship, claws and fangs tearing through steel. Ground titans leapt toward the massive vessel, smashing engines and weapon systems with unimaginable force. Serpents and multi-headed creatures wrapped around alien ships, crushing them as humans guided the attacks. The air was filled with fire, smoke, and the deafening roars of legends. The flagship shuddered violently. Energy overloads ripped through its core, sparks flying across corridors. Alien soldiers screamed, unable to survive the onslaught. And then, with a final, earth-shaking roar, the flagship exploded. Pieces of metal, fire, and debris rained down across oceans and continents. The alien fleet above faltered, unsure of what to do, as Earth's legends advanced relentlessly. On the ground, Commander Aaron looked at Lyra, a rare smile breaking his tense expression. "It's over," he said, voice filled with relief and exhaustion. "For now. Earth survives." Lyra nodded, her eyes scanning the battlefield. "They underestimated us. Every legend, every human who survived, they thought we could be destroyed. But we are stronger than they imagined." From the ruins of cities and mountains, the legends roared in triumph. Their presence was a warning to the galaxy. Earth would not bow, would not surrender, and would never be erased. Humanity had released the beasts of legend, and together, they had turned the tide of war. But deep in the shadows, unseen by both humans and aliens, a quiet rumble began. Even older forces stirred, ancient beings whose power rivaled that of the legends themselves. The battle was won, but the war, and the mysteries of Earth's hidden defenders, was far from over. And as the sky cleared slightly, stars shining faintly through smoke and ash, one thing was certain: the galaxy would never forget this day, when humanity unleashed the wrath of legends and refused to die. The sky above Earth was quiet now, but it was not peaceful. Smoke still rose from ruined cities, fires burned in scattered pockets, and the ground trembled from the weight of legends who had fought tirelessly. The alien fleet had retreated, broken and terrified, their remaining ships fleeing into the depths of space. Humanity had survived. Earth had won. Commander Aaron walked through the command center, his boots heavy on the scorched floor. The room smelled of smoke and ozone, but there was a sense of relief that filled the air. Lyra stood nearby, her eyes scanning the monitors, tracking the last scattered alien vessels fleeing the planet. "They're gone," she said softly, almost in disbelief. "The fleet, they didn't expect this." Aaron nodded, his expression grave. "They underestimated us. Every human life they destroyed, every city they leveled, only made us stronger. They thought we were weak. They were wrong." Outside, the legends roamed the battlefield. Massive dragons landed on scorched plains, wings folding carefully to avoid crushing the surviving humans below. Serpents slithered back toward hidden caves, their scales glittering in the remaining light of fire and destruction. Titans and armored giants walked slowly across mountains and valleys, surveying the ruined alien positions. Their roars echoed across the land, a warning to any who might try to return. On the ground, human soldiers moved among the ruins, assisting survivors and guiding civilians away from danger. Children clung to their parents, frightened but alive, their eyes wide as they looked at the legends standing protectively over them. Humanity had lost much, but it had survived, and that survival was owed to the ancient, terrifying creatures that had awakened to protect their world. Lyra looked at the console again, her fingers hovering over the buttons. "Commander, the remaining alien signals are almost all gone. Only a few small ships managed to escape." Aaron's jaw tightened. "Let them go. We've made our point. Earth is not weak, and humanity will not be destroyed. Let them return to warn the galaxy. Let them tell everyone what happens when you attack Earth." In the distance, a faint rumble shook the mountains. Even after the battle, some of the oldest legends moved, patrolling the planet, making sure no threat remained. Their presence was a reminder, Earth's defenders were not only alive, they were eternal. Lyra took a deep breath, glancing at Aaron. "Do you think they'll come back?" Aaron shook his head slowly. "Maybe. But they will think twice. They've seen what happens when you underestimate humans. They've seen the legends. They will never forget." Across the battlefields, survivors began to emerge from hiding. Farmers, engineers, scientists, soldiers, all shaken but alive, gathered to witness the aftermath. For the first time in months, the people of Earth looked up and saw hope. The legends, their protectors, moved among them, silent guardians who had fought for every life. In the skies, the last alien ships vanished, leaving only the stars. The legends roared one final time, a sound that shook the clouds and echoed across valleys and oceans. It was not only a roar of victory, it was a warning, a message to any who might dare challenge humanity in the future. Commander Aaron turned to Lyra. "This is only the beginning. We have survived, yes, but the galaxy will not forget today. They will come again, or others will try. Humanity must be ready." Lyra nodded, her eyes reflecting determination. "Then we prepare. We rebuild. And we make sure Earth is never weak again." Meanwhile, deep beneath the surface, unseen and unknown even to the legends themselves, something stirred. Ancient, greater forces, even older than the legends that had fought, shifted and awakened. Their eyes, deep and glowing, hinted at power beyond comprehension. Earth had survived, but the galaxy held secrets that no human, or legend, had yet faced. On the surface, the survivors began to rebuild what they could. Fires were extinguished, ruins cleared, and makeshift shelters constructed. Humans worked side by side with the legends, treating them not as weapons, but as guardians, as partners in a world that had nearly been destroyed. Commander Aaron stood atop a hill, watching the legends move across the land. He knew this was not the end. Humanity had survived, but the galaxy was vast, dangerous, and full of enemies who would not hesitate to strike. But for now, humanity had won. Earth had survived. The beasts of legend had proven their power, and no force in the galaxy would ever forget it. As the sun began to rise over a battered, scarred, but living Earth, Aaron whispered to himself, "We have survived, and we will never bow. Never." And far in the shadows, where no human had looked, the ancient forces that had stirred watched silently, waiting. The legends had defended the planet, yes, but something even older, something even more powerful, had begun to awaken. Humanity had survived the first great trial, but the next challenge, greater and more terrifying, was only beginning. The dawn over Earth was different now. It was quiet, yet the silence carried weight, the kind of silence that follows a storm, heavy with memory, loss, and victory. Cities lay in ruins, forests had burned, oceans were scarred, but life endured. Humanity had survived an attack that should have erased it from the galaxy. The legends of Earth, creatures long thought myth, had ensured it. Commander Aaron walked among the ruins, observing both human survivors and the legends who moved protectively through the streets. Winged predators perched on the edges of buildings, massive serpents slithered between mountains, and titanic armored giants patrolled valleys. Humans and legends had formed a bond forged in fire and blood, an alliance of survival and strength. Lyra stood beside him, her eyes scanning the horizon. "We've won, but it doesn't feel like the end," she said softly. Aaron nodded. "No, it isn't. We survived this wave, yes. But the galaxy is vast, and there are forces out there that have not yet seen our strength. Today, we showed them Earth cannot be conquered, but tomorrow, someone might try again." A low rumble echoed from deep beneath the mountains. Both Aaron and Lyra turned, sensing something older and larger than the legends themselves. The ground quivered as massive forms emerged from hidden caverns, creatures older than recorded history, their eyes glowing with ancient power. Even the oldest legends paused, sensing the awakening of something far greater than themselves. From the shadows of the caverns, a colossal figure rose, its body shimmering with a strange, otherworldly light. Its presence radiated a force that seemed to make the air itself tremble. The legends, once rulers of the battlefield, now knelt in respect, or perhaps caution. Humanity had unleashed the legends, yes, but this force, this was beyond comprehension. Lyra stepped closer to Aaron, whispering, "These are the true guardians, older than any human, older than any legend we released. They've been waiting, watching, and now, they are awake." Aaron's gaze hardened. "Then we are not alone. If they fight with us, Earth will never fall. But if they oppose us, we may have awakened a challenge even we cannot predict." As the ancient beings moved, the sky above shimmered with light, as if reality itself was bending under their presence. The remaining alien fleet, observing from afar, froze in terror. Their weapons seemed meaningless against these beings, and their confidence evaporated. For once, they realized Earth was not just defended, it was guarded by forces no one in the galaxy had seen or imagined. Humans gathered, watching the scene unfold. They could not comprehend fully what they saw, but instinctively they knew. These were allies of the planet, protectors of life itself. The legends that had fought so fiercely were now joined by beings of unimaginable power. Commander Aaron addressed the survivors. "Today, we survived because we never gave up. Tomorrow, we will survive because we have allies older than time itself. The galaxy will learn, humanity is never alone, and we are never weak." Lyra's eyes met his, shining with determination. "Then we prepare. We rebuild, we strengthen, and we make sure that anyone who comes to challenge Earth knows the legends, and the true guardians, stand with us." In the distance, the alien fleet turned away, fleeing into the unknown. Earth had won this battle, yes, but the galaxy now held a new understanding. Humanity was protected not just by its ingenuity and courage, but by forces older and more powerful than most could imagine. The legends had been unleashed, and now the true guardians had awakened. As humans began the slow process of rebuilding, the legends patrolled cities, mountains, and oceans, ensuring no hidden threats remained. And deep in hidden caverns, the ancient guardians observed, their glowing eyes hinting at mysteries yet to be revealed. The survivors began to speak of the legends in a new way, not as weapons, not as myths, but as partners, allies, and protectors of Earth itself. Songs, stories, and whispers of the battle spread quickly. The galaxy would remember this day, the day humanity fought back, unleashed the beasts of legend, and awakened forces older than time. Commander Aaron stood on a hill overlooking the recovering cities, Lyra beside him. "We've survived the first great wave," he said. "But the galaxy is full of dangers. There will be new enemies. There will be new wars. And we must be ready." Lyra nodded. "And now we are. Earth has legends. Earth has guardians. And Earth has humanity. No one will forget that." The sun rose higher, shining over a battered but alive planet. The legends roared one final time, a sound of victory, warning, and power. The ancient guardians watched silently, their presence a promise and a challenge. Humanity had survived, but the future held mysteries and dangers that no one could yet foresee. And as the wind carried the echoes of the battle across the continents, one truth became clear. Earth had awakened, and the galaxy would never dare underestimate it again. Humanity had survived the unthinkable, unleashed the legends, and now faced a future where power, mystery, and survival were intertwined like never before. The war was won. The legends had triumphed. And somewhere in the shadows, the guardians waited, ready for whatever came next.